record everything that happened.
All right.
Bruce will edit it.
Yes. I will edit it.
Are we recording now?
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Notice you brought your Magic the Gathering quick start.
Yeah, it's from 1986.
1996.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Magic, or are we doing that after?
We're talking about whatever goes, man.
Alright.
The boat just keeps rowing, and we just keep it sailing.
Should we reintroduce our names or something, or?
Hi.
They know,
Hello.
They know who we are.
They already know.
They know.
Our 25 viewers.
Do we have that many now?
I think
I mean, we can...
probably 20 of the views is us. Just listen to it back over and over again.
Yeah. My comment that you love.
Our moms.
Yeah.
The girls.
The girls. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I don't know.
All your girls? Did your wife listen?
No, I don't
No? My girl listened.
I didn't even.
I think I made my girl listen, so.
Forced her at gunpoint.
I was like, this is pretty funny, babe. We're pretty funny, especially me, right? Right? I mean, we can keep going about.
Did she validate you? Or was she
She
just
always,
like, no, you're
no, she
fucking
puts me
stupid.
down whenever possible. She keeps me leveled, and I love her for it. I think. Just kidding.
Alright.
No, it's a toy. She's scratching.
So, first civilization off of Earth, Mars or Titan? And for those of you who don't know, Titan is one of, I want to say, Jupiter's moons.
Did you just watch that Netflix movie?
The Titan?
Titan?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yes.
It's a moon of Saturn.
Huh? Is it?
Saturn.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. Don't quote me. So yeah, I mean, Saturn's what? That's the next. So that's the planet closer to the sun.
It goes.
Don't quote me.
It goes the Sun,
Mercury.
Mercury,
Sure.
another
Venus.
planet, then Earth.
Venus.
Is it Venus?
Venus.
Venus.
Yeah, and then Saturn.
On Earth.
Yeah, you don't hear about Venus that
And then
much.
Earth.
From scientists.
Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what comes after Mars?
Mars could have had life at one point, though. I think Mars is the logical conclusion.
Saturn and
Because
Jupiter.
we did take into account the fact that the sun's expanding and it'll eventually swallow everything.
So I think the orbit of the planets, the distance as the sun expanded throughout the ages, I think probably the distance between the planets and the sun increased over time, right? I mean, that makes sense, wouldn't it?
I don't know if they're significant.
So, I mean, who knows? I think they found dried up lakes on Mars. So at one point it could have been habitable for life.
Yeah, well, I think that's like what the hunt is right now is for like microbes and stuff like that. Or I don't know how you'd find like dead micro. Hold on, I want to stop my cat.
Dead micro.
Hey! Get the fuck away from me! Oh no, your claw stuck. Very good.
Oh no.
He's a violent man.
I
I
just
don't like
don't
upsetting him.
I just not going to be listening and hearing me, but like.
Scared.
I was not it spikes when I get loud. I hope it's not too loud. It should be fine.
No, I put compressors on there. And
Did
all
you
that
just
stuff.
kick her?
No, I've never had a
okay.
cat.
I don't know. Alright.
You don't got a lot of the podcast, man. We just seen it.
All right, well, say all right. Here's a hypothetical. This probably more applies to Mike because he has a family, but I mean, it doesn't really matter.
You guys don't have families?
Elon Musk is like, he's like, I did it. I got a dome on Mars. Would you sign up to be one of the first people to live on a different planet? Because you'd have to leave everything behind. Like, you could probably communicate, but I feel like sending a text message to another planet probably takes like a day.
Well, that's what the Mars voyage is, 2020. I think they had a select 1,000 people that plan on going.
Would you go though?
And I don't know. I mean, that's really crazy. I guess I could, if you really want to be a part of history, that's definitely something to sign up for. But
Bunker boys in space.
there's so much that could go wrong. I think it was saying it takes 12 months to get there.
My concern would be like some kind of fucked up like geological event on Mars and just kills everybody in one sweep.
Right. And there's just so much that could go wrong.
Yeah, but not everybody. Unless all like what is it, the Ring of Death or whatever, super volcanoes. I haven't explored Earth enough, so I'm good.
Right.
I don't even believe.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
What would you do?
No.
Would you go?
Would you take your
sign
family
up?
to Mars?
No, not unless I had to.
Let's go to Mars, dude.
Like if it was literally in like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Impending doom.
Impending, yeah.
There was
What
a
I trying to
time-
say? Why was I think it was like imploding or?
There was a time when I was alone and I had a hard
Impending.
time talking myself into trying to join the Navy. You know what I mean? I understand some people are probably like, oh, I don't got anything, no family, whatever, I'm gonna go to Mars. goddamn, I can't even push myself to join the military, let alone jump on a spaceship.
The military is super appealing. It's just the fact that we're in conflict. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with joining like the Air Force. Like, I wanted to fly jets so bad. Then I got glasses, and I was like, oh, I'll just like join the army or something. But then they're like, the war on terror happened, and I'm like, fuck that.
Fuck all.
It's like, I want to go to like Hawaii and Japan. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in the Middle East. Like,
but that's kind of the luck of the draw.
There's grenades in our shoes.
You sign up, you think you're going to Japan. Next thing you know, you're fucking getting sent to the Middle East.
Well, there's the lesson.
I just want like a Taiwanese wife to bring home. That's all.
In modern America, there's always a war right around the corner, so it's never really a good time to join.
Military industrial.
If that's what you're
Yeah.
Alright, so we were talking about you had questions about cryptocurrency or
Yeah.
I'm not the expert. I just did a lot of research one night because I was like, because once Bitcoin hit like $20,000, I was like, I was mad because I knew about Bitcoin the first time that
when it was like $20 a coin,
and I'm like, this isn't gonna be anything. And it's like hindsight's 2020, but like if you just bought like one coin, you would have been set.
Yeah.
And those people out there were like, oh, I still have a USB drive with a couple, like a coin on it, or a couple coins, and it'd be like rich overnight.
People are millionaires.
Yeah, it's the gold mine.
Yeah. So
literally.
back to the whole planet thing. I'm reading this article. It says Saturn's moon Titan could be the best spot for a human space colony. Between Stephen Hawking's increasingly dire warnings of our planet's imminent doom and Elon Musk's fleshed out plan to colonize the red planet, everyone sure is in a hurry to get out of Dodge these days. But where to next? Our best bet might be Saturn's moon Titan.
I feel like we're more likely to. You ever seen the new Valerian movie?
No.
Oh.
It's just like
the premise is like a bunch of civilizations
I've
live
seen
on one giant ass like space satellite that just travels.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be more realistic, and then we just gather resources from comets or something like that.
Yeah, I mean
we could live on another planet. It's just how hard it is to change planets to like have the same atmosphere that we would need. And
right.
Humans are so adapted to Earth. Imagine living on a planet where you don't have like you have like 30 days of sunlight. I don't even know what planet would have.
It's hard to figure out even changing my own address.
Well, it's not easy for humans to adapt to living out in a space station either. For the same reason.
Gravity's different.
Your bone density like depletes.
How cool it would be though? Like lower gravity, then you like 100 years, you got people that are like 9 feet tall.
Right.
Just because they live in like, oh, you can tell he's from Titan. I'm not gonna have my daughter with a Titanese man.
Yeah, so Saturn's moon Titan is the optimal location in the solar system for an off-Earth human settlement. It has Earth-like qualities and a thick atmosphere that provides shielding from damaging radiation, unlike any other solid surface location in the solar system. Yeah, this guy says, I think long-term after Mars, Titan's probably the next most important place that people will have an extended presence. Yeah, I mean, Titan, man. We're going.
We'd have to shoot for different planets completely. Just like get a machine that can get like cryogenically store eggs and sperm.
Just all, yeah.
And then fertilize them. And
huge sperm bank.
Once it reaches the planet.
Yeah, that's the plot of.
That's probably.
What's that? Interstellar. She's he launches Anne Hathaway on a planet. And she's got like a bunch of sperm and eggs or whatever, and that's like the twist of the movie because later on, that civilization that was born out of that like went back in time with their advanced technology and saved Matthew McConaughey. don't leave the Murph. Let it
go. Yeah. I think before then we'll end up destroying ourselves with nuclear weapons.
Nah.
I think Hawking talked about.
Well, it's really hard for humans to actually completely go extinct.
Exactly.
I know, or like cockroaches.
Yeah, I know.
There's how many times
it's hard to do.
There's been like 6, 7 annihilation events on Earth, and life alone has like survived every one of them. So
cockroaches, man.
I mean, not even that, just like things in the sea or just burrowed in the ground and shit.
Right.
And microbes.
Yeah.
It's like those. What are those? Oh, they're called like something bears. Those little like
water bears.
Yeah, they can survive the vacuum.
You put them in a glass of water and they get big. One of those
they're
like
cute little things.
foamy.
But like
tardigrades.
They can survive like a nuclear blast and like the vacuum of space and shit. It's like it's all it takes.
And it makes you wonder because if life's that adaptable, could it also adapt on places that you never think it would adapt? Like for example, Venus, you know, with 1,000 or 1,000
Well, it's not
temperature,
that good. I don't think it's
1,000 temperature surface with
It's-
acid rain. You
But
know?
it's just crazy, like how conditions have to be for like life to exist. Like Earth, it's such a like the fact that humans are here and this intelligent to observe the universe that we are part of is like insane to think about because it's like a statistical anomaly.
Right, but is it
What are the
hard
odds?
though? It doesn't have to be perfect. We already found what microbes on asteroids, right, and comets and stuff like that. And I think there's that acid lake somewhere on the Earth, somewhere where they found living organisms living in, you know, in the acid lakes. It's like crazy. It's like how you know, how far can we go?
Well, I think a big factor is just sunlight and temperature and water and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
These like.
You heard it here first, folks. It's just
Well,
crazy.
it's crazy how like life works in general. But yeah.
What if we just transcend biology entirely and become machines that can exist out
What
in
if we
space?
already are machines?
Maybe
Biological machines.
We
Maybe
are,
that's what-
technically. I mean,
Yeah, maybe that's.
DNA is code.
Right.
It's like, don't give this guy an extra arm, but sometimes it happens.
Now we dive down in the simulation theory. Woo! You know,
Well,
you
there's
ever
another
dream? You ever wake up
alternative
from a
to it.
dream, or actually, all right. So you're having a dream, and while you're dreaming, you think it's real, but when you wake up, you realize
Was that every dream?
it wasn't real.
Not sometimes.
What if that's
Unless
life?
you're lucid,
What if
dude.
that's existence in general?
Sometimes
What
dreams
if we're just
it's
an
like,
alien's dream?
You feel it. I feel like some dreams I know it's a dream, but my brain doesn't think about the fact it's a dream. It's just going with it.
Right.
So this ain't right, but I'm just having fun.
And that, you know, that's kind of life in general. I feel like, what if, you know, when you pass away, you wake up? That's, you know, that's something to think about.
It's scary.
Something to think about. Don't call me.
You know.
Well, I think about this a lot. I always think about like, what if? How messed up would it be if like your next life is just you living the same life but in new game plus mode, so you keep all the memories from the last life?
Kind of like a transfer, like
Yeah.
a prestige on Call of Duty.
And say you're like doing it, you're like you hit 10 years old, and you're like, shit, I fucked this up. You can just kill yourself and start over.
You just keep reliving lives to add to your experience. It's funny that you say that because I've thought about that.
Or there's what's that other theory? It's like you actually have died like millions of times. It's just your consciousness switches over to like a timeline where that didn't happen to you. So like,
Parallel universe,
yeah, pretty much.
string theory, all that good shit.
Diverging.
Wow, you've been pretty quiet over there, man. You're making me nervous.
That's because
He's plotting.
I speak when I have something meaningful to say.
Well, what do you want to say, man? This is your time.
It's my time to shine.
The world's listening.
The whole world.
Well, maybe in the post-apocalypse, the bunker boys will survive on, and people will
In our bunker.
listen to it.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I want to be like the leader of a cult. You know?
Yeah, man.
You know, you've seen This Is the End, where
Yeah.
Danny McBride comes out with Channing Tatum as like a gimp.
He's a
I want to
gimp.
be Danny McBride in that situation.
I love Danny
He's like,
McBride.
we're cannibal now, dude.
Who calls him Daniel McBride?
Is that the actor's name?
Yeah.
I've only ever
No one
heard,
ever calls him Dan, I don't think.
I've only ever heard him called Danny McBride.
That's what I called him. What do you think I called him?
Daniel.
If I said, did I say
You
Daniel?
definitely said Danny.
Oh, I got Daniel Day-Lewis on the mind.
Yeah, I was reading the other day that there's a garbage patch in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that's like bigger than Iowa. And they're
What?
saying that like at least 20% of it is from the tsunami that hit Japan. Washing back into the ocean.
There's like glacial shelves that fall off that are like the size of Delaware.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Waterworld. You guys seen that? I feel like I referenced
I
like
have
5
seen
movies.
it. I have seen it. It was very underrated.
I love
Very
that
high
movie.
budget.
When I was a kid,
I think the critics blasted the shit out of it.
I was like, he's drinking his own pee-pee.
Uh,
I'm like, that's the future.
yeah.
Recycle. Reuse.
He did
And
shit.
it's funny, you think about dolphins, and some people are saying that they're actually smarter than humans. And it's like, does a species need technological advancement?
How would some stupid human know whether or not?
How do they
dolphins
know?
are
You know what I
smart?
mean? You know what I mean? It's like, does a species need technological advancement to be more intelligent than another species?
Technology, I think, is a huge measurement of intelligence, though.
Yeah,
I would
so-
assume. Because, like, with primates and stuff, they tend to be, like, primates that use tools tend to be the ones that have, like, communications, tend to stand more upright and stuff.
But it's only for adaptation, though, right? It's only for survival.
Oh,
That's what all of it is.
crows use tools and
Including
stuff.
what we do.
There's plenty of birds and stuff that use tools, too. They're really intelligent.
I think as humans, we've gone past the survival aspect. We got that part down. So what's the next part of human
We're
evolution?
still dying.
You know, I know, that's true.
Self-actualization.
You know what I mean?
Ascension. With becoming Ubermensch.
Makes you think about aliens, you know, if they did exist, you know, obviously there's always the top of the food chain. I think you see that in every species, right? Do you think that would be universal, or do you think that's just exclusive to Earth? That kind of food chain, animal kingdom mentality within all species?
Well, it's all about like acquiring energy to produce anti-entropy, or whatever you want to call it, negative entropy to sustain.
Just energy in, energy out. That's the universe in general, right? I mean, that's everything.
Well, it's like the flow of energy, you know. The energy is not created nor destroyed.
So what I was saying is, like, imagine an alien colonization, a very advanced one. One that was so intelligent they got past all the animal instincts. You know, what happens at that level? They get past all the instincts. They're just basically living off pure logic.
Living off pure logic?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know how us as animals, we live kind of solely on emotions. You know, our instinct, you know, animal instinct and all that. Imagine a species that grows beyond that, grows beyond instinct.
What reason do they have for doing anything?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I feel like
what do they value?
Yeah, when you've gone beyond the need to be like, these are my set of expectations. I want a good job. I want sex. I want food. But say you don't want those anymore, then what are you living for?
That's kind of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? I mean, do you guys remember the steps? Kind of hard for me to remember, but I think first is survival, like food, breathing. Second is like shelter.
Yeah.
Third is relationship and belonging. Fourth is self-esteem. Don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. But and then fifth is self-actualization.
Yeah.
And some people never reach that fifth level.
Most people probably don't.
I think I won't say I think that, but I think that if you made the argument that self-actualization can be a dangerous thing, like I think, or that the fact that there's actually nothing wrong with, I grow crops, I eat the food, I need to have kids, and then I die, like that kind of simple life of like,
right, what is
live out your function, and like don't waste time like questioning your function.
It also makes you want these people who have everything they've ever wanted. They have all the power.
Well, think about
what more do you want from there?
It's you ever heard of the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer?
Mm-mm.
He was kind of famous for forwarding the argument that human life is just suffering because we exist to want things that we don't have, and the minute we get the things that we,
it doesn't bring us happiness.
Yeah, we have it, so we don't care.
You guys probably can all relate to that.
Move the goalpost.
You know,
we're just in a state of perpetual suffering.
You ever remember not having a car, and then when you get the car, it's like,
I like my car.
How happy are you?
I see people asking for rides all the time.
And for how long? You know, I feel like I'm happy for, you know, it's nice, but then a week later it's like, oh, I want a better car.
Bills, maintenance. Yeah. It's a responsibility, but you know, it's worth having. If you've lost your car, like I lost my license.
Yeah, that sucks.
I hit a couple. No, I'm just kidding. No, I
ran over some
parking ticket. I forgot to pay. Full disclosure, but it sucked because I had to like walk to my job, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I missed having a car.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
What a great man.
Yo,
speaking of which,
he understood, dude. He understood.
Did he?
He got it.
Thou shalt not. If he actually existed, and
well, I mean, he's almost certainly existed as a historical figure, at least.
But if he actually existed and was like preaching, like do unto others and help the poor.
That's common sense.
So I'm not gonna get pissed at Jesus. I'm just gonna get pissed at people that like, abused his message.
It was like conspiracy theories that Jesus never existed and that he was an invention by the Romans in order to like pacify Jews.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give them a Messiah, but he's like just this like this pushover who's just like pay unto Caesar your taxes, don't stir the shit. Just the rewards in the next life.
Yeah. Well, they did. That's what lords did to like serfs and stuff. They're like, look, you can't read the Bible because we're not gonna let you learn to read. But it says in here, you got to do what I say.
Right.
Or you're gonna be in.
And it kind of
believe me, it does.
Is religion just a tool for people to have control, like church and state?
I think
they definitely took advantage of it, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think it started as like humanity's first attempt at philosophy. We're just trying to explain the world around us, and then of course it gets exploited and abused by people in power.
Yeah. As soon as someone says you're being punished for being bad, because I was reading something recently, which you get to look into, but it basically was like, in the original like Old Testament stuff, there's nothing really in there about like burning in hell. I think the most literal thing you could take out of it was like, if you don't believe in Jesus, you don't go to heaven. Like nothing happens to you after you die, which like an atheist death, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you believe in Jesus, you'll get into heaven.
Jesus.
So it's like, those are your two options. I guess for some people, nothing happened after you die is like the most horrifying thing.
Then there's like the Book of Revelations right at the end. I think didn't that?
I don't know yet.
Got a little hardcore at the end.
I mean, I went to Sunday school as a kid, but I don't really remember much besides them saying some kooky shit.
Yeah.
I went to one of the crazy churches that gave out pamphlets that said Harry Potter was evil and stuff. So.
Damn.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I feel like being a millennial too, we have so much access to information. Growing up and being more like connected to the world, I feel like that's why maybe there's a rise in atheism. We don't want to believe that one belief that's kind of taught community and in communities. Back in the day, did people ever talk to anyone across the world like we do, or read information from so many sources of, I guess, beliefs and opinions and all that. Kind of like the technological age of the internet, I feel like changed us a lot as far as our intelligence and our ways of thinking.
That's why traditional religions don't like worldliness.
Well, I mean,
exposed to.
If you look back to like the great thinkers, a lot of them were like agnostic or leaning, because like they would travel a lot and stuff like the Freemasons or the Golden Dawn. I don't know if you guys heard of them, but it's like. Sounds
like some Illuminati.
The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It was like basically. I don't want to get too much because I had to look. I have a book on my shelf, but a bunch of rich people getting together and like free thinking,
Bilderberg,
getting into like some occult stuff. A lot of it's occult for that, but like the Freemasons was like a free thinking group.
Still
the
is.
Illuminati originally, or was a free thinking.
Freemasons actually go back to the days of Solomon's tomb. And the Illuminati was actually a group of enlightened philosophers, scientists, basically, people that kind of, thought beyond religion. It was created in Germany by a man named Adam Weishaupt back in like 1776. Ironically, on the day that I think the Declaration of Independence was signed. You know what I mean? That's crazy, right? And so what the church did is they didn't like that. They didn't like these people coming together and using logic and reason and philosophy and all these smarter, I guess, sciences than religion. They got scared of it. So they went into hiding. And some people say that they went within Freemasonry to kind of hide their
the Illuminati's the good guys. We just don't realize it.
The enlightened ones is what it stands for.
Pretty much.
But
the Zionists.
I think, but they're a lot of power bait. They use their knowledge and their enlightenedness to, take control.
Should people who know better be in control? Like, should idiots have power?
It depends whether or not they want, or they're actually looking out for all of humanity, or just themselves, just their group.
That's the central question.
You know what I mean?
The Illuminati just want us to buy more Coke products, guys.
It's funny, you've seen that Rihanna video. I think it's called S&M or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You like pause it on a frame. It says Rihanna is the princess of the Illuminati. And like, who the hell is putting these messages in these videos?
It's a weird conspiracy to like these celebrities. Like, why would Justin Bieber be in the Illuminati? Why wouldn't it be like some dude, like one of the Rothschilds or something?
I think one who controls the popular opinion is the one who controls.
Just control
the world.
Wealth, honestly. I mean, money talks.
Just culture and media is, if you have control over that, you pretty much have control over the opinion of the populace. Just, like mainstream news companies and.
I dropped that. Oh no!
What do you guys think about that?
I mean, think about it. It's like they exploit you and control you through culture. And these people, they're like a cult.
Oh my god.
Cult, culture.
Through television programming.
I think that's a coincidence.
Haute couture.
Programming.
That's where the word culture comes from.
So you're saying through fighting Xenu, we can ascend to the next level.
My thetan levels are through the roof, bro.
Yeah. Well, technically, every religion's a cult. Adults are religion.
Do you think that's exclusive to human nature, though? Just like corruption. Do you think that's a natural human trait? With power comes corruption.
That's what I believe it was Plato.
Absolutely.
I'm always tempted to pronounce it Plato, but I think it's supposed to be Plato. There's a Gaiji's ring. That's what the Lord of the Rings is based on, I think. The ring that grants total invisibility and undetectability.
But it also corrupts you.
So the point of that,
absolute
the
power
point of
corrupts,
well,
absolutely.
no, the point is not that it's like the point is that you were always corrupt, but once you have the power to act on it, you're going to. Like everyone's like essentially corrupt, and it's just about whether or not they have the power to.
I think that's where sin comes in, right? That's where Jesus, had
No, I don't
sin.
think so.
No, it's not kind of the same.
Sin is about
Coming against your
having integrity.
well, it's about control. It's about control, right? I mean, when you have masses of people who can be guilty of something that they never did, then you've got a lot of leverage
control
over them.
You talking about slavery? Yeah. I didn't do anything.
None of us did.
Speaking of original sin,
Hey, we all come from
never
Africa
made
down the
sense.
line,
Yeah.
I was reading that. Like, I think
What?
our common ancestor down our evolutionary. If you guys believe in evolution,
It's not a
sure.
belief. It's scientifically backed up.
Right. I agree. But down the road, I think our common ancestor comes from Africa.
Yeah.
It does.
The bed of civilization, or whatever it's called, like, I don't know, you should look at a map or whatever, but it's like with the first like humanoids left into like Eastern China and Northern Europe and all this crazy stuff.
Right. We all come from the same place.
I was trying to say something and you changed the subject.
So-
Oh, I'm sorry. We're trailing here.
You're very scatterbrained. keeps the conversation flowing, but it gets a little high.
Anyways, back to that. I totally forgot what we were talking about. Yeah.
You're saying something about original sin, right?
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense, is what I'm saying.
What was the original sin? The apple thing? Is that what that's supposed to be?
Right, Eve being tempted by the satanic snake to eat the forbidden fruit of knowledge.
It is. It's weird because
Like
it's why would God not want you to have knowledge? It almost seems like the devil's the good guy in that story. I always thought it was weird.
Well, I mean, you're right. You're correct. That's one aspect to it, but the other aspect is how can Eve be guilty if she was ignorant before she ate the fruit? Isn't she just?
She's right.
How can it be considered her fault?
Because she's a woman.
Doesn't make any sense. Because she's a woman.
Pretty much. Like the way that the original that story goes is like Adam just wanted someone to fuck, so he's like, take my rib and make me a bitch, and then it's like this bitch ain't listen.
That's the King James version.
What isn't there? Wasn't there a woman created before her? It was like there was
I don't think so.
some stories have taken it to make her like the first vampire. Yeah, no, Lilith or whatever. I'm gonna say 75% certain there was a woman created before him, but she was she like joined the devil because like she was so like unruly. They're like, we need to make you a new bitch who can listen, but she still didn't listen because the snake tempted her. So women are evil is what I got out of that. And Adam's just like
Kind of shows how we've treated women throughout the ages. You know what I mean? Always trying to have control and all that.
What was Satan's beef again? He wanted God's power, or did he?
Satan doesn't make any sense either. I mean,
Or was he just mad that God loved humans?
It was supposed to have something to do with jealousy over humans or something, because he's an angel, fallen angel.
Well, in Islam, I think Satan is like a djinn or something like that, and djinns are made from fire, but angels are made from light.
Yeah.
And humans are made from clay, so it's like.
Would you really pronounce it djinn?
The Jinn.
Is it a
Jinn?
Sorry, I should know this because there's that horror movie there. But basically, like, dude's just pissed. He's just pissed.
I mean, how does Satan do anything against God's will?
God created him.
Much less any human for that matter.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, it's just weird. Like, I gave you free will, and I'm gonna punish you if you don't do it according to the way that I want. It's just like, what's the point of giving free will then? What's the point of anything, honestly? If I never understood like an angry God, I guess, or
even just a God with any kind of.
I think he gave us
personal intent. Like, why would
he gave us a choice to make, right? He gave us an ultimatum. He gives us the power to do that. I guess it's just up to us to act on it, right? And that's what I was saying with the whole.
But why punish us for what he put in? Like, if God created man, like, and that's quotes sense. Why even give us the ability to sin? Just to be like, it's a test. I created you. Like, why?
Because he gave us free will.
Why create humans to begin with? Was he
I mean, the conventional apology is, he wants humans to love, to love him freely. He doesn't want slaves or whatever.
Seems like he wants slaves though.
It seems like it. Seems like it's inevitable. I don't know how you can have free will and an omnipotent.
If God wanted us to love him, I feel like he would just make us love him. He would have created us perfect and with the ability not to. But
and what's the point of an afterlife? People are always like, because you see these pamphlets like you'll have a mansion in the sky, and all your loved ones will be there, and it's like, why would I care about a mansion after I'm dead? Am I gonna still want things? That sounds horrifying. Yeah. Like, I mean, but I guess at the same time, like we quantify our happiness with misery. So if we're not miserable anymore, we're not happy anymore. Then what are we in the afterlife? We're just sitting there in a mansion.
Seems overrated, Seems boring almost. What do you got to work for?
There's all kinds of things that don't make sense. Here's another one. What?
The Atheist Podcast. Tip your fedoras.
Yeah, I didn't bring mine, but
the God's illusion.
But that's all right. We're all products of that time, that age. If what the hell was I about to? Oh yeah. If Jesus is like understood as somehow unable to sin, but he's still fully human and fully, he's like supposed to be fully God and fully human. Why didn't God just make every human the same way he made Jesus? Right. Jesus had free will, presumably, right? Yeah. I don't think there's any sect of Christianity that's saying Jesus didn't have free will. He's also somehow incapable of sin.
But he was the literal Son of God. But are we all God's children? Isn't that what it says?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, why wasn't every human created the same way Jesus was?
He's the perfect Son. You know what I mean?
Well, he is God. It's weird because if you're going by Catholic rules, the Holy Trinity.
Well, sure. Isn't anything God creates God? And it's all God's stuff. He can only make things. It's all allegory. He can only make things out of. Right, because he's the prime mover, so the only thing that exists is him.
It's just so contradictory.
He can't produce anything in ex nihilo. Whatever he creates is just a piece of him, so it is him.
Damn. It's like the universe again, and everything created in it, exploring the universe itself. God is an allegory for the universe, and sin is an allegory for things that go against our nature.
Ding 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 ding.
I.e.
Is there anything we
homosexuality.
I.e.
I think you mean E.G.
E.G.?
Yeah.
I.E. There's a one for I.E.
Well, I.E. means like in other words. E.G. means for example.
Contextually, I think that still works. It's like listen. I can't think of the painting, the Sistine Chapel order, where he's like pointing down at the man, and the dude's pointing down at the guy. But if you notice that it's like shaped like a brain.
What happened to architecture? Right?
Architecture?
You guys see like how complex everything was.
Don't get me started
in the Roman days.
Modern architecture, especially in the West. I can't stand it. I look at like these beautiful buildings in like Europe and stuff. I'm like, people gave a shit back then, but America's full of like mansions and skyscrapers, and it's all ugly. The other things that look good in America are the stuff that was built like in New York City when like industry started hitting and people were like
just doing the best they can, the cheapest they can.
That's me. I can go out on a whole rant about like people just not giving a fuck about taking pride in anything they do or what things look like. It's all about the cheapest, fastest option because money's gonna go somewhere quickly.
American culture, man.
Well, you can't fault people for
you can.
That's where
I will.
That's where you're wrong, bucko. It's just like it's like fucking auto mechanics, right? Every auto mechanic, I swear to God, it seems like you go in there and you leave with like problems, and then they just charge you through the nose. It's like no auto mechanic is gonna sit there and be like, I did a good job. This person's gonna have a working vehicle. He paid me. I earned that money. This is nice. But no, it's always like, he'll pay me for the labor.
When did that begin? Exactly.
I'll do the bare minimum.
When did that begin?
I don't. I guess it's instinctual to get what's yours.
Everyone stopped giving a shit, and it was more about whatever. I don't care what you think, as long as I get my money.
Industrialization, maybe. More or less. If I'm understanding what, like, in terms of what you guys are talking about.
Well, to be fair, I feel like maybe it doesn't apply to people to go into job markets they don't care about. Like, if I was to become an accountant tomorrow, I'm not gonna give a shit about doing a good job at it because I don't want to be an accountant. So maybe that mechanic doesn't want to be a mechanic. Oh, yes. But then why become a mechanic?
That's awfully Marxist of you to say.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the theory of alienation.
You gotta find a good mechanic.
Where you're disinterested in your own job. And you're not motivated to actually perform it.
That's pretty natural, isn't it?
Unless you get a job that you actually enjoy, that you want to do.
But once it becomes a job,
how's that Marxist though?
That's what Marx theorized. That's among many things.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a master. I've never read anything but Marx. Maybe I got that book, whatever. But to me, it seems like the idea of like communism or I shouldn't say communism because Marxism is like it's a philosophical, right? Like way of looking at economics and society.
Marxism is almost better thought of as like a sociological theory.
Okay.
Most like fundamentally, but
I don't know. It's weird. It's a piece of pie. We're all eating.
Trusty Google.
Pause it for a smoke break.
We can.
We'll be right back.
Oh, it's fine. I just created. Okay, so when you hit record, it created like a second track taking it place after both. It's fine.
But I'd recommend, depending on you want to be 15% body fat, you want to have high strength gains.
Yeah, because I mean, because I feel like 50% is definitely maintainable, but you'd have maintenance once I hit my goals or whatever. I feel like people always want to hit like 7 or something. Like, what's your goal?
What for what?
For your body fat percentage?
Right now I'm going for 10%.
Yeah, like anything below 10 is just like insane because you had to eat so clean.
It's so hard going from 14 to 10. You wouldn't believe it. And you know what's funny is like right now for me going from 14% body fat to 10, that's only like 8 pounds. That's it, 8 fucking pounds. But you know your body's stubborn as shit because it's a survival mechanism. Your body doesn't want to lose that fat. Right now I'm perfectly healthy, even though I got a fucking even though I got some chubbiness a little bit on my belly and shit. But that's what your body wants.
Shouldn't you leave it there?
Ideally, but it depends on what your goals are. You can still be healthy at 10%.
We ain't in the wild anymore, Mike.
What's up?
Anything under 7, I think, is essential body fat.
Depends if you're also lifting for aesthetic, like too. I mean, I think everyone lifts to look better, but I think for me, it's like I just want to be stronger. Like, like I've looked at like a lot of like reports where like the average strength of the male has been dropping over like the 20 years because men just don't work out or get the right diet anymore and all that soy. So it's just like
you don't really need strength for survival these days. You know what I mean? So it's just your body kind of adapting. It wants more fat. It doesn't really need much muscle.
Plus, if I'm walking down like an alleyway and someone pins me down and tries to rape me, I want to be strong enough to push them off.
Yeah. And you gotta look back in evolutionary too. Like when you talk about ketosis and all that, you gotta understand. All right, so what were we eating? A million years ago when we were in our hunter-gatherer stages. What were men doing? They were going days without food. But they're also lifting heavy things, going hunting, going on endurance sprints to hunt down mammoths and all that shit. So we actually really don't need carbs. We only really need, fats, animal meats, etc.
Carbs from veggies.
And veggies and, a little bit of fruit here and there. Women would be back in the village picking berries. That's what we'd be eating until we hunt our mammoth. And sometimes we go 3 to 4 days without food. So your body is naturally inclined to be able to survive days without it. So it's actually very healthy. There's a lot of research in fasting and like anti-aging properties and anti-cancer causing properties and stuff like that. So
I wonder because like it's such a the big reason with like heart disease is so big right now and stuff is because we like as a society like shifted so quickly from hunting gathering to like sitting at desk jobs.
Industrial.
So I wonder how like the human body is going to evolve to like I guess just requires less maintenance. I don't know. I want us to become like gorillas where they just eat nothing but plants all day, but they're like 800 pounds of muscle.
Well, you figure, obesity is at such a rise. Obviously, wouldn't the body naturally adapt to that unhealthy, habit? Because a lot of people are dying from heart disease, like you said. A lot of, and obesity and stuff like that. So wouldn't
all the fat people will die, and only those of us who can handle it will live on.
Natural selection, right? But do you think more heavier obese people will adapt to taking in more food so they don't have those health problems?
I mean, I hope not. It sounds horrible. I feel like
takes a long time.
Yeah, I feel like natural selection is gonna pick off the people that don't give a fuck. Right. And it sounds mean, but like we're shifting to where like a lot of people don't know how to cook and don't know how to eat healthy and.
Yeah.
And stuff like the fat here's the thing, I'm not against body positivity, but I'm completely against the fat acceptance movement. I think that nobody should be comfortable or like happy with being overweight. Like it's medically that is wrong.
There's a meme up on Facebook, shows like an overweight, obese person. They're like, I'm fat and I'm proud. And everyone's like, yeah, you go, girl, you go. And it's like, no, you don't. You're going to end up having some kind of fucking diabetes or heart disease and shit. It's like, people shouldn't be encouraging that type of health.
As a former fat person, I say that too.
Me too.
Some people are like, well, you're thin. You don't know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
No, I do. That's the reason why
I worked hard, man. I used to weigh 220 pounds. I was fat as hell. Growing up, I was picked on it for it. I worked hard to get where I'm at.
Mike,
so.
born beautiful over here.
Right. Well, that's your guys' bias, though. I think you're kind of resentful of the.
Well, here's the thing. I honestly, and sometimes I feel like I'm insane, but I feel like when I lost weight, people were just nicer to me.
Oh yeah.
Like talk to me more respectful. Like I'm not the most handsome dude, but girls definitely paid more attention to me. Like for the first time in my life when I lost weight, I actually was like when I worked at Subway, I got like 3 phone numbers. From like random or ugly.
Whoa. Yeah.
No, but it was like weird. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But some people say like that's your personal experience. It's not that people are friendlier to you. You may be just more self-confident.
Right. It might have been your confidence that did
So it could be that people aren't like negative.
I think attraction though too is what it is. I think attraction is like a trick your body or like human evolution has played to be able to have you mate with someone that's healthy.
Well, they've like,
you know what I mean?
They've done studies on like job interviews and stuff. People that are like physically in shape have like do better in interviews and stuff, just because people like to see people that are like healthy looking.
Thin privilege.
Yeah. Here we go.
Is it a privilege?
Yeah.
But there's a difference between like how do you define thin? You know. Like,
I think it's just healthier looking. I think you get better response from
because you're either overweight or underweight, right? And then
is that really it? Is this how it is? You're either underweight or overweight.
Depending on your body, I guess.
It's funny that you say that because there's BMI ranges. You know what BMI is, right?
Yeah.
It's like a way to like measure like your weight compared to your height. And there's very muscular people that actually have an considered obese BMI. You know, when they're completely ripped and jacked and they look completely healthy and they have no fat. So
BMI is a little unreliable.
Very
Shit broke my heart. In my freshman year of high school, we were in health class and we had to like measure our BMIs, and mine put me in obese, and I wanted to kill myself. I was like,
did the teacher have you take all your shirts off?
Penis inspection day was the worst. Dude. I know, dude. I was always in the bottom tier. I was like, damn it. It's like even
failed.
They put your penis size up on the wall for everyone to see.
Top and best smelling though, so that's good.
Best smelling.
Was that a yearbook category?
Tasty.
Best smelling penis. Mike's standing in the picture with his thumbs up. Hey.
No, it was weird. For my health class, they had us like walk up and down stairs and measure our heartbeats and shit too. And I'm like, you're just trying to out me for like. I blame my parents.
What kind of shit was that, man? Like they would have like an average for fitness, and back in gym class, I'd be the only fat kid running around getting 15-minute miles, and everyone would pick on me. And everyone's getting 7-8 minute miles. I'm getting 15, and I'm the one taking on the average.
I just wish people were more honest with me. I feel like I would have lost weight sooner. Cause
right, I want you to pick on me.
I feel like my mom was like, you're not fat, you're healthy. That's what she would say.
Here's a Twinkie.
She would let me get as many portions, and I would eat like... I was that kid who would eat like 6 Hot Pockets in one sitting and shit. Like insane. Like playing WoW all night or whatever. Or Counter-Strike usually. Or more. It's like insane, but no one... It's kind of mean to be like, you need to lose some weight, bro. But no one does that.
Yeah.
It's like, if I have a booger in my nose, tell me I have a booger in my nose. Don't just let me walk around.
I think bullying is a very crucial part of.
I'm very pro bullying.
Because the world's tough. The world's hard. I think bullying prepares you, but to a certain extent. It's one thing if you're saying kill yourself, shoot yourself in the head every single day and beating them up, and blah blah blah. But I think some bullying, is crucial.
My brother
kind of, I guess, prepares you for the real world ahead.
Oh, I think in the real world it's like spitting your face. But I think it's like...
Not the fairy tale your mom brought you up in.
Some people aren't self-aware, and I definitely wasn't. Like, I knew I was heavy, but I never, thought it would, affect me negatively, body. I still have, pretty bad body dysmorphia. Like, at my lightest, I weighed, 132 pounds, and I still thought I looked fat. Yeah. I was rail thin, but I would still look in the mirror.
Me too.
I probably was out of shape, so that's probably what I was seeing.
You guys remember me last year, right? I was fucking thin. I was 140 pounds. Yeah, man. I know. And I didn't realize it. All of a sudden, I seen a video of myself. I was like, God damn, I look like a fucking twig. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. Yeah, I was ripped and all that, but it's crazy, man. I still thought it's weird being a fat kid growing up,
Mike over there was fucking privilege.
It's all fast.
He probably got mad.
Yeah, he probably got picked on for being too skinny.
Nah, he got mad. Scrawny dudes.
Not where I went to high school. Not me.
I don't know.
Not me. What school did you?
Had a monster hat on.
Being 5'8", 110 pounds, soaking wet is not an attractive.
Right.
I don't know, I feel like on average,
ladies.
Girls would be more into
when Chad Chatterson's walking around.
I think we base ourselves, our self-esteem off, I think, cultural, basically what culture expects us to look like. You know, when we all grow up looking at television, you know, watching Baywatch, and you know, all these girls thinking they gotta look a certain way, and all these men.
And people are like, men don't have the beauty standards that women do. Like, we really do. It's like, I mean, assuming you live your life by like, I need to be presentable and attractive to women. It's like, well, I gotta work out, have a good job. I have to like be groomed and have a good haircut.
Cultural expectations, you know, what we're expected to be, and how unrealistic it actually is.
But those things are good for you too, though. I'm not shitting on working out and looking good. I think it's important.
Right. It's one thing being healthy, but I think there's just a standard that we think we have to be, you know, at that level of, I guess, confidence. You know what I mean? It's not true. It's not real.
And then put some lotion on, just a little bit. That's it. Not at night when you go to bed.
No.
You all right, Mike?
Cultural standards, man.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Bullshit.
It's corporate exploitation.
Well, I think
it's the hyper reality that we get thrown through.
Well, there's always like some guy in media that's like the man. Like, this is the manliest. Like, who's the manliest actor you can think of? Right? Me, I mean, I'd go old school, like Marlon
Tom Hardy.
Brando, but
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, dude.
Tom
like,
Hardy.
But I love Tom Hardy. He's a great actor. Definitely someone to look up to.
The new Venom trailer?
No, but I'm glad he's playing him.
Looks good. They actually show him as Venom now. Like, it's kind of interesting looking. I mean, it's a Sony film. That's the only concern. It's like, yeah.
First time I saw him was in that movie Warrior. You ever watch that?
Is that where he like fights his brother at the end? Or
yeah, that was such a good movie.
It's been a while, but
such a good movie. Tom Hardy just does.
I just like at The Revenant. He's one of those actors.
He's man. Yeah, he's up there.
Have you ever? Oh, what's that movie, Legend or whatever? He plays like the guy and his twin brother in the UK, and they're like mobsters.
I don't know.
It's a long movie, but it's kind of good and some hilarious because his twin brother's like this really off the rails, like openly gay dude, especially for the era. So he's like. He's talking to another mobster dude, and he's like, I like men. And the guy is like, you're crazy. He's like, I like
Peaky Blinders. You ever watch that?
I haven't seen her. That's good.
It's a really good one.
I never saw that. He was in Inception.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He was Bane.
He was.
Was he?
You merely adopted the dream.
He was Bane?
He was Bane.
I didn't know he was Bane.
Dude, he put on a lot of muscle for that.
Yeah.
He basically, he was dirty bulk.
They're all doing steroids. I don't care what you say.
When you see him as Bane, though, he's not like cut like a steroid person is. He definitely looks like he just dirty bulked and lifted like a motherfucker.
You know, when Zac Efron's putting 30 pounds on in 2 months for Baywatch, there's no way he's doing that naturally.
The thing about Zac Efron is he's shorter. It's easy for him to put. I'm just kidding.
That might be, but
that's a goal mode though. Like where he is right there, that'd be like the ideal body.
Yeah, definitely.
Just enough meat. This is the most homoerotic thing I've ever talked about. But
embrace it.
It's weird because once you get into fitness, it's like you just become super homoerotic.
You definitely do.
It's like this dude looks good. Look at those muscles.
God damn, I want to suck his penis.
Look at that. No, look at the thickness of it.
It's so girthy.
Look at them legs, bro. He ain't skipping leg day. Oh, his glutes. I gotta feel his glutes. Those glutes are hot.
Yeah.
Not in a gay way though.
A lot of it comes down to genetics though too. It really does. Some people lack different muscle areas. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like you play to your strengths. If you're lean, then you probably don't want to have a powerlifter's body. You probably want to play into like an otter, like
more aesthetic
strength.
Yeah,
like
Bruce Lee mode.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, but like, figure out where you land on the spectrum. Because there's people that are like
it's a spectrum.
Like if you're 5'5" and you're wide set, just go full Wolverine mode.
Yeah, you know? Fucking A. For the podcast, I really want you to explain to me that whole thing about knowing what was it called again? I forgot to pronounce it.
Epistemology. Wait, what are you talking about?
The one, remember, like, how do we know? What's real or no? How do we know?
The Munchausen trilemma.
Munchausen.
Munchausen by proxy.
What?
Munchausen by proxy is where parents...
There's actually a few different things that he has.
I was gonna say because where parents like abuse their kids and they're like, I don't know what's wrong with my child. Give me attention.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
This guy's never seen Scrubs. Or Grey's Anatomy.
Or Bates Motel.
All right, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
All right, anyway, yeah. So, what about it? Like, didn't you read?
So I did, yes.
So what's your...
I don't really have a general. I just really want you knowing what you know about it. I guess try to explain it and apply that to, I guess, just belief systems in general. Just to be able to, I want to know personally.
I'm more interested in what you guys think. I could tell you what I think. consider myself a coherentist who takes the position that you can obtain knowledge through circular reasoning. That's what it would be thought of, but it's not. I would argue that's not technically circular reasoning. And the idea behind coherentism is that things are true by virtue of the fact that they are coherent with all other propositions that you can make about the universe, essentially. And once you've got a complete set of like propositions that describe the universe, and they're all coherent, they don't contradict each other, then you've got the full set of knowledge, of true knowledge.
So a fact is based off another fact.
Yeah, as opposed to something like external or something, you know what I mean? It's made true by other propositions, in other words.
So what's real?
I think honestly that's literally what philosophy is ultimately, is just about making our explanation of the universe coherent with itself.
Right.
Isn't that just mathematics made true by other things being true?
I think that's
like when you do
logic is essentially just math. It's just math with numbers as opposed to words.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like when you do proofs and stuff like that, it's a lot of it's about being like, does this equal this?
But with Mulhausen's, what was it called, dilemma? Trilemma. So with that, it kind of throws logic out the window, right? Because even with logic, even with mathematics, it's saying, how do we know? You know what I mean? Regardless.
Well, yeah, you could say it's.
Why is 1 + 1 2? How do we really know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's claiming that you can use the trilemma to claim that, like, a skeptical position about knowledge, that it can't know anything, or you can try to take on one of the horns, in other words, and try to explain how it is possible.
Okay.
Like the other two were like, one position is called fundamentalism, like this idea that there's just fundamental truths that don't need to be justified.
Do you think I'm a fundamentalist? Am I a fundamentalist?
Not like a religious fundamentalist. And then the other one is like infinite regress, which I don't know why anyone would take that position necessarily, but
what is it?
Well, it's like the idea that, you know, X is justified by Y, Y is justified by Z, and so on, just infinitely. Like there's a never-ending, you know, like the old, like the stupid little kid asks you why to everything you explain, and it just never ends.
Right.
That would be like an infinite regress. You can never really satisfy the explanation, because you can always say why.
X can be justified by Y as long as Y is justified by X. Is that what you're trying to say? Like,
well, it can't mutually
circular reasoning.
Oh, with circular reasoning?
Well, just like comparatively, because that one you said it goes infinitely, because one thing points to another, but you're talking about where circular, like where it's like these point back to each other. That's what makes it truth. Is that what?
Yeah, it'd be just a huge network of propositions that each justify each other. More of a web, you could say, than just just a like a circle, but it's essentially the same.
Computer scientist.
It's a circle.
You could get behind that.
I can fuck with that.
But that leads to some really crazy like conclusions to be made about the universe and what's real. If that's what knowledge is, and we're trying to explain what is true about the universe, then basically we're just trying to think of explanations that aren't contradictory with, you know, within the full theory of it. You know, you don't necessarily need to measure anything or observe anything. You can just say you're just trying to imagine a complete explanation that has no contradictions in it, and that's the truth. And so that leads to, like, I mean, how much longer do we have for this one? I mean, I don't want to, like, get way into it.
No, that's pretty much it, man.
Because there's,
no, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, how does it? I don't know, extend it, but how does that apply to, like? So you know how people will state a fact or like a rule, and they'll name an exception to the rule, and then it makes the rule invalid. But so what you're saying is does it have to be absolutely, like, non-refutable to be a truth, or it has to have?
I'm saying it has to be perfectly consistent with every other proposition that you're applying.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there can't be any contradictions. I mean, there's a criticism to it that's something like the raft problem. This would be a kind of counter argument to it. It's the idea that you could make this, like, giant set of propositions that explain what's true about the universe, and that it's just kind of floating on thin air. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not connected to reality. But I would say it doesn't. I'd just argue that it doesn't.
The
it doesn't need to be.
Is perception.
Like if it's
right?
the only, if it's the only explanation you can
your
make.
universe is your perception.
Right? Isn't the universe? Doesn't it only exist with consciousness?
Well, that's like the tree falls and no one sees it, does it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it does. It's just no one.
Does it though?
Yeah, just no one can observe it.
So what's that double slit experiment that we were talking about?
What's the double slit? Oh, that's when you observe. Wait, no.
So what they did is they shot. So all right. So this is what they did. They took particles, right, and they shot it through two slits, and when they weren't observing it, it came out as a wave pattern.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when they did observe it, it turned into just two straight lines. You know what I mean? Rather than a wave pattern. So what it was saying is that the universe is just possibility until an observer looks at it.
Yeah,
it's just
we talked about this like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I see.
That's amazing to think about.
Well, we're not physicists, so I mean, there could be. I mean, I don't know the logistics of the experiment, but there could be other factors. Like I wouldn't so is the assumption that like the universe behaves according to how we see it, basically, or
no?
It exists as an infinite amount of possibilities, and it chooses a possibility once you observe it.
I mean, infinite in a sense. Yeah, it's just to say that like this is string theory, basically, right? Like
yes, yeah.
Like what's like fundamentally at the base of the universe's like existence.
Schrader's cat.
Perhaps.
Schrader's cat.
Schroeder.
What did you say?
Schrader.
You guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Schroeder's cat.
Schroeder's cat
is it dead or is it alive? It exists in both states until you observe it.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's the
same. Is this a real particle? Did this?
This is
all subatomic.
I've heard of this.
This is all subatomic particles exist like this.
Unless you look at it.
Fucking up my day, because I've heard this before, but I didn't know the logistics.
You can't see behind you right now, right? So you don't know if your cat's behind you or not.
Why would a particle?
It exists in two states.
Behave a certain way just because we're observing it. That's bizarre to me.
Because it's one theory of explaining it is called I think it's called the Copenhagen theory, and it's the idea that at all times the universe is basically splintering into every possible way it can exist. Like if there's two different ways some particular subatomic particle could exist in the next instant, entirely two separate universes will splinter off from one another. One where it goes one way, one where it goes the other.
Parallel.
And until you make an observation, you don't know which one you're in. You're theoretically in either or both. Right. Observation is just the act of having to be in one over the other. That's what observation is.
So does the tree fall? We don't know. It's either it's in both states. It hasn't fell yet. It has fell until an observer looks upon it.
It's fucking bar.
So the fact that you're observing something is creating that. That's
kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say
in a way
it's creating it, but it's forcing you to exist in one over the
that's
the others.
The implications behind that is insane.
Look it up, man.
Did I ever tell you about the? This was actually in a video game called Alan Wake. Have you ever played it?
People were going insane about it. You're like a detective, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It's fun, but there's these like little segments within the game as you go through where the television is showing like a fictional show about quantum physics, basically. Mm-hmm. And in one of them, it's there's a guy who has like a kind of quantum revolver or something like that, basically, where there's like for each bullet that he could fire, there's a tiny probability that it just fails. You know what I mean? It jams. And what he demonstrates to his student, he's like a teacher, he's demonstrating to his students how this multiverse works in quantum theory. Huh. And he puts the revolver up to his head and pulls the trigger 6 times and survives.
Wow.
Because there's at least one possible universe where every single one of them fails, even if there's like trillions of versions of the universe where at least one of them obviously triggers. So there's like all these universes where he just commits suicide in front of his students, but he only survives in the one where he fails each time. As long as it's
so that kind of goes along with my thing of like where you might have died already, you just exist in a universe where you didn't.
Right.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. That's strength theory,
it's the
man.
Rabbit hole. It goes deeper.
Don't quote me.
I think that's an end, guys. Good job this week. All right, we are the Bunker Boys, and we will see you next week.
Should we say our names? I mean,
my name's Bruce.
I'm Mike Gold.
I'm Murph.
Goodbye.